TBCN presents Creating Your Own Job, a new series aimed at providing you with resources and assistance to start your own business. Financial assistance, analyzing the marketplace, marketing strategies, implementing the plan. Creating your own job.
Welcome to Creating Your Own Job, a series that has been developed to provide you with the resources that you may need to start your own company. I'm Louise Thompson. I'm the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Community Network, where you can come down, learn about video production training, and also put your own show on the air. Today we're going to be talking about financing. How do you get money together to get your business off the ground? And we have with us Jim Parrish from the Small Business Development Center up at USF, and he is got a long title, and it's called Statewide Growth Acceleration Services Coordinator. Welcome, Jim. Glad you could be here with us today. Leonella Cole, who's the VP of the West Coast region of the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund.
Thank you.
Welcome. Glad you could be here. Lynn Joller, Senior Vice President of SBA Lending at Bay Cities Bank. Is that in Tampa?
Correct. Yes.
Correct. Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you could be here. Lynn Schultz, who's the Business Development Coordinator for the Economic Development Department of Hillsborough County. Welcome to all of you. Let's first tell the viewers a little bit about your organization, what it does, and its mission and so forth. Jim, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'm with the Florida Small Business Development Network at the University of South Florida. It's been around in the Tampa area for 30 years now. We actually cover 10 counties, and our main mission is to help existing entrepreneurs grow and develop their businesses. Plus, we help individuals who are looking to start a business. And we do those services primarily through no-cost consulting to clients, and then we have some relatively inexpensive training seminars.
Terrific. What about the Hispanic Business Initiative?
The HBIF, Hispanic Business Initiative Fund, we're a nonprofit. We've been around for about 20 years. We actually have, believe it or not, 3 offices, Orlando, Tampa, Miami. We do similar things to SBIC, SBDC. We help Hispanics that want to expand or open up their businesses. Through that, we offer orientations, seminars, one-on-one training, all free for our clients.
Any money?
I'm sorry?
And money?
And money, yes,
and
we
money.
do. We do help
That's
them
even
with
more
money.
important.
Yeah.
And you're the money woman here on the panel, for sure, right?
Yes.
Lynn Joller, tell me about your bank. And
Bay Cities Bank is a locally owned community bank here, headquartered in Tampa. We cover the Hillsborough, Pinellas counties and surrounding areas around. We're a full-service commercial bank with deposits and loan products. We're primarily committed to the small business community, entrepreneurs and professionals, and we brought in the Small Business Administration Lending Program, which is the government-backed lending program. Started that initiative just this past year, and that's what I do for the bank.
oh, that's a new initiative.
For our bank, yes.
Okay, great. Lynn?
I'm with the Hillsborough County Small Business Information Center. We're part of the Small Minority Business Development section of Economic Development with the county. We've created a one-stop shop with our various partners all sitting here at the table to create easy access for the business owners throughout Hillsborough County and provide them the free resources and business technical assistance that they need to grow or to start their business.
Is that a new initiative since the downturn in the market, or has that always been
We've
around?
been in existence for approximately 12 years.
Okay, so not new.
Not new.
Okay. Jim, tell us about some of the classes or the kind of consulting. We're talking this time about finding startup funding, and as I recollect from attending some of your classes way back when, you even had banks come in and or try to tell us how to put a package together?
Yeah, we have various financial institutions that come in. In my case, I'm actually an ex-senior lender myself out of the banking industry. So I teach seminars on how to get funding, how to get financing in today's economy, which is much more difficult, truthfully, was back in 2006, 2007, and 8.
Is that because of fear or rules or new rules or what
It's largely as a result of the recession and what's gone on in the banking industry and the financial crisis. When banks essentially are having a number of their loans not pay, then they frequently are less active in seeking out new loans, which over the last few years that has definitely occurred. The head of the SBA just announced, I believe it was last week, that they are back to the 2008 loan volumes now. So they're back up to that level because they have been substantially lower than that. And so what we help clients do, both through the training seminars and the one-on-one consulting, if it's a startup, we help them develop their business plans and then look at all their options of financing. Most people tend to think that the only way you can get money for a business is you can go down and get a loan, or if you can't qualify, then you can't get money for a business. And actually, bank loans account for less than 1/5 of all the capital that startup businesses actually obtain in order to start their businesses, even though for most of us, that's the first place we tend to think of. And if you can qualify for that, then we help you in preparing your loan proposal to take to lend or to your bank or to another financial institution that might be interested in it. But we also coach clients on how to raise private equity money, how to use more creative ways of getting the things you need and getting funding, as well as equipment leasing and factoring and all that. It really covers the entire range of well beyond how do I get a loan. It's really how do I go about getting the money I need to start my business. And that's
so
what
they
we
should
help
skip the word loan.
No, yeah, loan when it is a viable option for you generally is the easiest, the most convenient, and one of the least expensive ways to get money. But for a startup, it's very difficult because the startup failure rates are so high. And that's one of the things that our organizations like ours do, is we provide the coaching to dramatically improve the odds of you being successful. General statistics, 1 out of 5 startups succeed. But if you go through these types of programs, really the success rate is about 3 out of 5. So it makes a dramatic improvement in the odds of you being able to be successful in your business venture. And truthfully, most of our clients, when it comes to financing particularly, they're not experts in that field, so they, it's confusing to them. And many times they go to the wrong source to seek funding and get denied, and then they get discouraged and they just give up. When in fact, if they went somewhere else, they maybe could do it and be very successful.
Are we seeing an upswing since the job market has been less than ideal in people trying to look at starting up businesses up at the SBDC?
We've seen an upswing this year. We saw an erosion in 2009, 2010, and even maybe the first half or 3/4 of 2011. But after that, people are starting to feel better about it, and we are seeing an increase in attendance for people who are looking to start businesses.
Leonella, the situation when somebody comes to see the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund is different, somewhat?
It's somewhat similar. Just to add on to what Jim said about startup businesses, very true. Unfortunately, a lot of startup businesses fail, but I think that's the best thing that all of the organizations here have, is that we have basically all the knowledge and everything, the seminars, all the assistance that they need to learn and be able to open up that business and become successful. A lot of the services that we offer are very similar to SBDC, SBIC. When a client first comes in, we first try to filter them out, provide them with the one-on-one counseling, and exactly see what the client needs. One thing we've noticed is that sometimes a client comes in with one idea in mind, and after we talk to them, and then over there shaking her head, after we talk to them, we realize that in fact that's not the route they need to take. They need to take this one.
Are you talking about the kind of business they're going to develop?
Kind of business, maybe even financing.
Because you know there might be some more money in a certain changing
exactly,
the route
yeah.
of the business.
Sometimes, and since we're talking about financing, I'll give you an example. We'll have a client come in, and let's say they say, you know, well, Leo, I think I'm going to need a $100,000 loan. When we actually look at their projections and study really what kind of business they want to get into, where their location is going to be situated, we actually realize that it's probably less than that or maybe even more. And then on top of that, we go through, you know, making sure that they have the capital and why they need to have that capital in place before they open up this business, especially when it's a startup business, because we want to make sure they don't fail. How we help them, aside from the one-on-one counseling that we provide them for our clients, we also have a series of seminars, and we touch different topics, just like SBIC, SBDC.
Are your seminars in English and Spanish? Or?
We offer them in Spanish, which is one of the difference. And it's good that we work together because whenever we do have a client, sometimes they're of Hispanic background, but they're second, third generation Hispanic and maybe don't know a word in Spanish. And then that's when we can refer them to SBIC, SBDC so that they can take those seminars. We touch different topics, just like the other organizations. One in particular we touch about is financial statements, which is very important to understand when you go try to get that loan from that microloan institution or financial institution in general. We also have a set of scholarship, which if the client is presented for the scholarship, if they're approved 100%, then the client doesn't have to pay anything out of pocket. They're able to sit with a professional, with one of our providers that completes the scholarship for them. One particular scholarship that we have is business plan, which is very important because that takes care of the whole executive summary, the whole description and the services they're going to be handling, as well as look into all the financial statements and all the financial analysis, projections, and whatnot. What I like to do when I have a particular client that is thinking of getting himself in a startup business, something where he's going to be investing a lot of money, whether it's going to be money that he already has saved up himself or getting a loan for, I like to put them through for a business plan scholarship. And I know, Lynn, you guys offer it too. And one thing that's good about the business plan is that after that's completed, they actually look at the financials. They realize if this is actually the route they want to take, or maybe, you know what, maybe I should wait a couple more years before I actually go towards this business. One thing too that our scholarship offers is that we break the business plan in 3 different phases. In the first phase, we concentrate more on the description of the services and what they're going to be offering. Phase number 2 is more the financial statements, which I know the banks, that's mainly what they're interested in, their main focus. And then during our phase 3, we concentrate more on actually preparing that loan package and helping the client with the assistance of the provider present it to the bank so that they have more of an opportunity of getting that loan package approved with the particular bank or financial institution that they're working with. Ultimately, we're all here to create jobs and to strengthen the economy here in Florida. We're here to help clients as well as the other organizations, basically to get that background that they need. We do see clients that come in, and I'm sure you guys will agree, we have clients that come in with awesome ideas, and unfortunately they don't really understand everything that entails to get that financial backing or how much money they actually need or what's the process. In our particular situation, we deal with a lot of clients that have recently just moved to this country from another area. They're not really aware of how the whole financial institutions work, what programs are out there for them to help them. And then it's interesting to actually sit down with the client and actually explain this process for them. A lot of them are surprised because it's so much easier maybe in their own country. And just real quick, I wanted to touch on another company that we're affiliated with, and that's Acción USA, which is a microloan program. And they actually have a new loan that just recently came up, which helps startup businesses. And this actually helps them with 1 to 5K. Let's just say they don't need too much. Their requirements in comparison to a bank, very minimal. Their credit score doesn't have to be that high. And then they do have the opportunity to start up that business that route as well.
The loans that you provide that are SBA backed over at your bank, what's the range of amounts that you get to see?
SBA really has no minimum. They do have a maximum of $5 million for an SBA loan.
Wow.
Many banks will kind of draw the line maybe at 100,000 or higher because the time and some labor intensiveness to it. We can't spend our time on, say, the 1,000 to 5,000 type loan that you're describing. And I'd like to comment too, just pick up on the same topic. In our economy in the United States, banks generally do not fund startup ventures. A commercial bank enters the picture typically when a company is 3 or 5 years old, has some track record, sales have been generated, and profits. So often someone, and that's where the frustration enters the picture, the first inclination is you go to your bank to get a loan to start a business, and they're very discouraged because banks, that's not the role of the banks. However, because of the SBA, the Small Business Administration program, the whole spirit of the program is to get the bank to do a loan that maybe it wouldn't do. And what the structure is that the SBA is guaranteeing a portion of that loan, which therefore mitigates the risk and exposure to the bank, which will then maybe cause the bank to do a loan that maybe it wouldn't have done without that guarantee.
So the whole thing is not backed by the SBA?
No, there is exposure to the bank. On the smaller loans, 150 and under, the SBA guarantee is 85%. So the bank's exposure is 15. On larger loans, it's a 75% guarantee typically. So the bank is at risk for a piece of it. But also, with that said, the SBA has some pretty stringent guidelines and rules to be followed. We are supposed to be following prudent banking, underwriting policies and procedures, so we're still sort of mirroring what the bank is looking for when it's looking at a loan, and they allow us to stretch the terms a little or have less collateral or be a younger company. That's what the SBA program is really for, and quite often startups miss out on that a little bit because they have no history, and quite often they don't have enough capital, and it's a new venture that we don't know if it's going to be successful or not. So the role of the bank is typically not for your startup type ventures, but with programs like the SBA, we are able to help some of those companies where you wouldn't otherwise.
Were you seeing in your industry an increase? Jim mentioned that maybe some things are coming back up a little bit.
Definitely.
That people are thinking about this now? Is it like, I'm sick of looking for a job, I'll just go create my own?
Yeah, there's been
Which I think is wonderful. That's the best
Yeah.
scenario in the world. Right?
Prior to the crisis, we were experiencing a downsizing, large companies downsizing,
Right.
long 30-year employees getting a severance package. They were getting into starting small businesses because they had the money and they typically had a good business background. That kind of, with the economic crisis, really set everything back, as Jim mentioned. And I would see more now a loosening of just existing businesses doing a little bit better, and the economy is feeling a little bit coming back. As far as starting small businesses, I think it's kind of harder, in my opinion.
And I want to give you some statistics that I looked up this morning before I came over today, because way back...
You thought we were going to give you a test.
Yeah, I thought you were. But I think does kind of illustrate that, that Lynn is mentioning. The SBA primarily historically has been the primary source for startup businesses to get bank business loans guaranteed by the SBA. When I first came to the SBDC back in '95, it took me maybe 4 or 5 years to get access to the numbers, but by 4 years after that, about 40% of all the loans done in the Tampa Bay area by the SBA that were guaranteed by the SBA were startup loans. In the recession, the depths of the recession, that number went down to under 20. Last year, that number is 27.
Okay, so we're seeing some.
So we are seeing an improvement. And based on what we see in terms of people coming in, you know, we kind of see them before they get to lend, and we're seeing an increase. I guess the other thing to add about that, when you ask why weren't people coming in, you have to understand that every time they turn on the nightly news or every time they picked up the newspaper, they were reading about the financial crisis and that there was no money. And truthfully, the people attempting to get it fell dramatically, even when, truthfully, a number of them could have gotten it even at that point in time. But they
just
didn't
felt like
try.
they were discouraged from the
They
news.
were discouraged because of the news. Why should I even try? There's no money out there. That's the given expression that you hear. Now people are starting to think, oh yeah, okay, you know, things are improving, and now there may be.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Calvin Coolidge's quote about perseverance, which I won't try to, but that's what you got to do: persist and persist and persist until you get what you need. Lynn, how is the county and your department helping Hillsborough County residents with all of this, everything that's going on around this table?
Through our partnerships, our mission is to provide the businesses the information and the resources they need before they go to the bankers. Make sure they have a good, strong, solid business plan. We offer the free workshops. We offer the business plan series. That's a 3 to 4 part series that they receive a book. They're responsible for doing their own homework, conducting research, doing some market studies, and preparing their own business plan, and we'll walk them through that process. Another great thing too, we, through our partnerships, may shift our business owners, our existing and our startups, from counselor to counselor. We have different areas of expertise at Hillsborough County, perhaps in the enterprise zone, which I'll talk a little bit about those incentives. I'm the enterprise zone coordinator for Hillsborough County as well, so an SBDC counselor may send one of their business owners to me to receive assistance on how to take advantage of some of those incentives. I, on the other hand, might shift one of my clients to see Jim for him to do a final review on a business plan before they take it to the bank. So the shared partnerships and shared resources have made it a great stepping stone for those businesses to successfully start.
Just to define, an enterprise zone is a zone that we want to see more businesses develop in or move
Correct.
into?
It's an area that's been designated by the state of Florida as an area that needs revitalization, and they want to see business growth in these particular areas. There are several areas within the city of Tampa, which include East Tampa, West Tampa, Ybor City, around the port area, and Sulphur Springs. As far as the county area, we have the university area. This area is actually within the enterprise zone. The enterprise zone allows business owners, it encourages their growth in those areas and to move into those areas and hire the residents because they receive a tax credit for every enterprise zone resident that they hire and employ for a minimum of 3 months. They receive a 20 to 30% credit on their sales and use tax or their corporate income tax. On top of that, they can also receive a business equipment refund on their sales tax. So if they purchase a piece of equipment to be used exclusively at their business located in an enterprise zone, they can receive up to $5,000 or up to $10,000 if they also, in addition, have enterprise zone residents working for them. The final incentive, if they make building improvements or build a new facility, they are able to get a refund in the sales tax that they purchased on the building materials, up to $10,000 on that as well.
Wasn't there something with regard to even like putting, is that just residences or putting a building, doing a commercial building in an enterprise zone?
Yes.
Is there something with that too?
Yes, that would fall under the building materials, and they would receive up to $10,000 in refunds on the sales tax that they paid towards those building materials.
Are there credits on their property tax too, or no?
Yes, there's actually credits on the property tax, and there's even a very specific credit for daycares. They get a freeze on their ad valorem on their property tax. If they file the
Who
paperwork
needs
on
that
that.
anymore?
Well, that's true, but there are still several in this area.
That's just going down
Yeah.
and down.
But there
you
have
know?
been some that have been able to take advantage of that, and it's been a great incentive to encourage growth in those enterprise zones.
And the reason they picked like childcare, for example, would be because in order to get back to work, a lot of people need
Exactly,
this.
to employ residents, and to also, as they're employing residents, they are going to need a place, a daycare.
I've been seeing an ad, an advertisement, I think it's General Electric doing it, and they've got a few people up there, and they're going to return us to manufacturing. When you said up to $5 million, the SBA, I started thinking, that's the only thing you'd probably fund for $5 million, wouldn't it be?
Any kind of business you could think of, service businesses, manufacturing.
Isn't it harder to get money for a service business where, say, a consulting business, where the primary person is just, there's no stock, there's no inventory, isn't that correct?
Well, that's true, because in our history, the bank always had hard, tangible collateral. A manufacturing company would have all its equipment and its building. As our economy moved into more of a service-based economy, it is harder, because one of the elements that we do look for when considering a loan is what's the collateral to help secure it. And in service businesses, it's quite often desks and telephones and computers.
Not worth much.
Not worth much if something goes bad.
Right.
But that doesn't stop us from doing loans. It just, we're looking at about 5 different elements when we're underwriting a loan, and collateral is one of them. So you might, if there's not enough collateral, you might want stronger cash flow or more capital, or better credit of the individual. So for every weakness, you want to maybe have a strength to offset it. But it doesn't stop you from getting loans.
And that's where the SBA guarantee helps.
Yes.
Because the SBA guarantee is largely substituting for the lack of collateral.
That's correct, yeah.
Do you need a, like you do when you're buying a house, and I think we've returned to the days where you need more down payment than, as I recollect on my first house, you needed 25 or 30% down. Is that happening too with the SBA loans or your loans?
That's really one of the strong elements of the SBA lending programs, because a bank will typically, and in the commercial loan arena, typically 20–25% down, sometimes more. The SBA programs have been around since the 50s, and they've always been geared towards allowing less money down.
Less than 30%?
Typically 10 or 15% is the down payment. And that's the benefit of an SBA loan, because it's basically you can't quite meet what the bank's asking for, but with an SBA loan you could still buy that building and only have 10% cash down. Again, trying to help the small business owner who doesn't have the liquidity maybe that the conventional bank is asking for.
I want to ask you all if you have either read or seen some trends of what people are now asking for loans about, what businesses they think they want to go into. But we're going to take a short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute.
Big dreams and good grades aren't enough to get into college. There are actual steps you need to take. Finding someone who can help is the first and most important. For the next steps, go to knowhowtogo.org.
We're back on Creating Your Own Job, and this segment is on finding startup money for your business. And just to reintroduce, I'm Louise Thompson, Executive Director at Tampa Bay Community Network. And with us are Jim Parrish from the Small Business Development Center, Leonella Cole from the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund, Lynn Joler from the Bay Cities Bank, an SBA lender, and Lynn Schultz from Hillsborough County's Economic Development Department. Let's talk a little bit more about the kind of classes you offer and where you can get them and how much do they cost, if anything. I'm going to start with you, Leonella.
One thing that we offer that's really helpful, especially for businesses that are starting out, is that we offer twice a month in Spanish, free for anybody that wants to attend, an orientation, how do you start your business, cómo iniciar su negocio. And there we go over all the basic steps in opening up your business, different financial options that are available, what to look out for marketing, checking the demographics, making sure you pick the correct location, and all the basic steps so that before they actually come in for our counseling, they've already kind of went through that little seminar and have an idea of exactly what to expect.
Where were these, you know?
In our office, we're at Corporate Square at North 56th Street, close to Busch Gardens.
Okay.
Yeah, and we also offer different seminars, like I mentioned before, in different topics, all free as well. They usually range between 2 to 3 hours. We do have some in the afternoon, some in the morning, during the week. And they're all different topics.
Are your classes posted somewhere?
Yes, we have them on our website.
Which is?
Which is www.hbifflorida.org.
hbifflorida.org.
And our next seminar.
You can also post this on our channels overnight. we put, you can go to our website and put them so that when we do our bulletin boards and our overnight notices, you can put this up there too.
Oh, sounds good. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we actually have now coming up now this Thursday from 12 to 3, we have minority certification. We'll be offering it in Spanish, which SBIC offers the same seminar in English. So we're able to offer that and work together with SBIC so that when we do have a client that doesn't know that good English, we help them fill out the application and all that so that when we send them to SBIC, they're pretty much, their whole packet is together. And during that seminar, we'll be talking about the benefits of having their minority certification and what's the process and so forth.
Better contract capability, correct?
Yes.
And I saw that with the RNC coming in town, that
yes,
they were
definitely.
asking for, and here we are a nonprofit. We're not minority owned, but we provide video production, and we're thinking maybe we get involved in that, but then they boiled it down to minority owned, which no nonprofit is, you know, not really. But Lynn, what about your classes that the county offers?
We offer both for startup and existing businesses. All of our workshops are free. We host our workshops throughout the entire county, from Ruskin to Town and Country to New Tampa, creating an easy access point for business owners to go and attend these workshops, because a lot of business owners are a one-person shop and they're not able to come all the way to our office. So we do go to them to make it easier for them to get to us. One of our highest attended workshops that we're seeing right now is our marketing workshop, and primarily by existing businesses. They're realizing they need to rebrand themselves, get their names out there, get their logos done, and be consistent with all the branding that they do with their business to make them more competitive against everyone else that's out there. Additionally, we have specialty workshops such as the Food Industry Series, which is a 2-part series. That's also one of our very highly attended workshops right now as well. A lot of people are turning to food to make a living. And
are you talking about restaurant catering?
A lot of
working
them, we're seeing a big food truck trend right now.
Oh,
So we're
yeah.
having a lot of people come in and find out how to get licensed and permitted correctly to purchase a food truck and go mobile, as well as a lot of mobile food carts in addition. Not so much restaurant owners necessarily. They're taking that little step first, testing the water before they go on to own a restaurant, which is a great thing. So we give them the resources and everything they need to do to be properly licensed before they go out and try to start selling their food illegally. We try to stop them before that happens.
Okay.
And they get busted by the food inspector. We also have a special workshop on how to start a daycare. And there's a big trend in that as well right now. Additionally, we do have the Enterprise Zone workshops. We have the Business Plan series. We do have, like Leonella mentioned, the Minority Business Certification and/or registration, and also how to conduct business with the local government. And that's just to name a few.
About, and about licenses then? Licenses that are required of you if you're going to open a business in Hillsborough County?
Yes, we do the Smart Start, which is our 2-hour mini series, and we walk them through the basics of their licensing and permitting. But we do have an all-day workshop. It's called the Business Kit, which is Know It Today, and that's a 7-hour workshop that touches on the basics of everything from your business plan, marketing, licensing, permitting, cash flow, and an SBA speaker comes in for that workshop as well.
Are any of you doing anything on social media, which has become such a big marketing
That's
piece?
incorporated into our marketing series. A big portion of that
And
workshop.
this is probably why people have to rebrand, because this
Exactly.
is just completely different world out there, and you can't use the same things you can use
I was gonna.
in print
we
or
actually
anything like that.
have separate seminars just targeting that, and it's actually a series of seminars.
So you'll have one just on Facebook or one on
Well, it would be
Twitter?
social media, internet, Google AdWords,
Okay.
and all that. In our case, we have multiple locations. We have a partnership with the Hillsborough County Small Business Information Center, but we have partnerships with the Pinellas County EDC, who runs an SBDC as part of that partnership. We have a partnership with State College of Florida in Sarasota and Manatee counties. We have partnerships in Highlands County, Polk County, Pasco County, Hernando County, through different chambers of commerces or different economic development groups. Just in our Tampa office, we'll run about 20 seminars a month, all similar to these. Business planning, how to get financing, marketing, social media, internet, advertising.
In Hillsborough County, where are yours held? And I did forget to ask you, Lynn.
Yeah.
Our workshops are throughout the county.
Oh, I'm sorry. They were
yeah,
all
we're
over.
mobile, we're
They might be
virtual.
that might be in a library or.
They can be in a local library. We also have various satellite offices throughout the county. We're in the South Shore Chamber, so we host a lot of our workshops there, at least once or twice a month. We're also in the Greater Brandon Chamber of Commerce, and we're at that location providing free business counseling twice a week. And we also have a satellite office within the city of Tampa at the East Tampa Redevelopment Office, and we're there twice a week as well. And we do both the free business counseling as well as the workshops in those locations and
Do
throughout the
people
county.
need an appointment to go in there, or can they drop by and pick up?
The location at 56th Street, they can always walk in. The satellite offices, we do recommend that they have an advance appointment because we are booked back-to-back at those locations.
What's your website? I forgot to ask you.
www.hillsborocounty.org/SBIC.
Let's go back to yours now. In Hillsborough County, yours are held where?
Our classes are held in our office down in Tampa Port Authority building at the
Okay.
corner of Kennedy and Channelside downtown. We do have free parking behind the building though, even though it's downtown. And
Behind the building would be water, right?
well, it's between the building and the water. Okay. You have a really
There's
good.
your boat.
I'm like, wait a minute, I think there's water down there.
Actually, technically, it's a parking lot, another parking lot, a cruise ship terminal, and then the boat, and then the water.
Okay.
All of our classes there, other than our partnership with them in Hillsborough, tend to be in our downtown center. Occasionally, we do special events that are in different locations. We're running a government conference here in May, and it's off-site, and it's going to be at Higgins Hall.
That's St. Lawrence Church.
Yes. We've occasionally run a veterans event in the Tampa Convention Center that has drawn 1,000 people to it.
For starting businesses, is there?
In that case, that particular one was. All of our classes for starting businesses are in our main office on Channelside.
Do you require advance registration for your classes, and is there a cost involved?
There is a cost involved. The cost varies from the class. In our downtown office anyway. In our regional offices, many of those classes are free. They all have their own calendar of classes. In our downtown office, a lot of them are $10. Because what we found would happen was if we made them free, our room would fill up, and then only 20% of the people would show up, and we would have to tell people, no, you can't come because it's full. So we charge $10, and
We learned that one a
shows.
long time ago here.
Yes.
Yeah, if you charge, people do.
Yeah, they'll tend to. Yeah, they'll tend to come for some reason.
Silly gooses, geese, whatever it is.
Then we have some. For instance, I teach a business planning seminar that's $90.
Oh, you're worth more.
Yeah, right. Actually, in that one we give them business planning software that sells for over $100.
Nice.
As part of the class. So our typical class will run $25 to $45. Then we have the no-cost consulting. And when I say consulting, we have a number of specialists that not only have MBAs, but have worked in the field for a long period of time. I spent 30 years in banking as a senior lender.
You don't get too many people who want to open a bank, though.
No, but what I can do is I can help them structure the proposal so she will approve it.
Okay.
Because truthfully, a lot of times it is about presentation.
Unless, of course, it's a pawn shop, and I'm going to say that,
Oh, that's a good
P-A-W-N. Because the New York accent gets in the way of people understanding what I just said. There's no R in the word, P-A-W-N. That is a bank.
Yes. And actually interesting, one of the, I have an article I wrote years ago called 88 Ways to Get Money Without Going to the Bank. And pawn shops is actually
absolutely one of
them.
Well, that is the bank for the guy without the credit rating, but has some goods and so forth. That is the bank.
Well, it's also good the other way. You know, think of it as if I want a new TV camera, I could go buy a new TV camera. I might be able to go get one at the pawn shop, you know, relatively inexpensive.
Most of the musical instruments in my house, which I have many, and my microwave, and a lot of my TVs were purchased at a pawn shop, but then they're in my family. So I have a really good deal on those. You should go, because there are people that can get credit. They need finances. They could go down to one of the department stores, Sears or Kmart or somewhere, and get actual credit, and then they take the credit because they purchased a TV, get the TV, then bring it down to the pawn shop, get about half the amount, and hope to heaven that whatever they're going to do with that money, they'll get it back in enough time that they don't pay too much for that loan. But, you know, if you have to pay rent, that's how you do it, or you have to buy your son a bike or whatever it is. Sometimes that's the only way to do it because you can't get the cash that you need.
It's amazing when people know they can't get a bank loan, how creative they can get to still get the thing.
Like, for example, what, besides like calling your Uncle Angelo?
Well, things that people frequently overlook are things like negotiating terms with your suppliers. So that they're selling you the things that you're going to resell, and you're not going to have to pay them right away. Now, if you can get those things sold really fast and collect that cash from your customer.
Almost like a line of credit from a bank, right?
Yeah, it really is. Your suppliers and vendors actually should be the very first place you should go look for money. And yes, it's friends and family, and it's private investors. In a few isolated instances, I'm almost afraid to say this word out loud, it's grants. And I'm afraid to say it because that's why everybody comes to me, is they all believe that you know, if you're a female, a veteran, or a minority particularly, the government's just going to write you a blank check to start a business, and it doesn't quite work that way. But there are a few grant programs that are real and do give people money to start businesses.
Jim, I want to finish up by saying your classes are available not only down at the channel site, but also online.
Well, we're in process of putting them up online. The classes are not available online. What we can do is online consulting. And our consultants, again, whether it's finance, we have marketing. Our government procurement person actually used to be a purchasing officer at Medill. We have CPAs on staff. We have international trade specialists. We have women and minority certification specialists. So what we have is specialists even within our own center. We refer people back and forth, and then we do the same thing with our other partners. And particularly when, you know, we do have a number of people in our office that speak Spanish, but when they're not available, then we will use HBIF.
I want to ask you all about, have you read about where people should start looking if there are, what services or what industry should they start looking at? I mean, I know it's often pushed that because of our demographics here that it'd be healthcare, because healthcare is a big deal. My feeling as a marketing person for so long is that I am so sick and tired of all the businesses that in the last 2 or 3 decades have grown less service-oriented. You know, I can't get a toaster when I open a bank account. The gas station doesn't clean my windshield or hand me a little truck for my child or check my air. I have to pay for that now. I think there's been so little service lately. I mean, I can walk into a convenience store and see a guy on the phone. That's ridiculous. Get going, you know what I mean? So I see this as an opportunity across all industry for people to get up, start a business, and actually provide customer service. They could be the next Apple. I mean, you know, this is how I feel about it. But I'm not in that industry, so I ask you all, are there some industries that you see, either personally or professionally, that are things that people should entertain if they're, you know, looking for something to start up?
You know, my friends, that's almost, once they found out I started doing this, that's the first question they would come up. Okay, what sort of business should I start? And while there are industries like you identified, particularly healthcare, 1/4 of all jobs that are going to be created in the next decade in America are going to be in healthcare. There's no question about that. Ultimately, it comes down to the individual. It's not the industry that really drives it. We find that of all those business failures, about half of them occur even with the right idea, even with the right amount of money. It's just the wrong human being trying to execute that idea for that particular industry. They don't have the skills or the experience necessary to do that. So I always tell my friends, tell me about you. You know, what are you good at? You know, and what is your background? And now, how do we go and find a niche that allows you to exploit that? And I agree with you 100%. Where you can compete against the larger firms is service. They have walked away from that for the most part.
They just have to, you know, a person just has to answer the phone with a real live voice, as I believe we've heard 1,000,000 times from New Startup Bank. Your ideas on this?
I totally agree. It's all based on the experience of the individual. One of the reasons why startup businesses fail as it is because, you know, due to now, unfortunately, because of the economy, people are getting laid off. And sometimes you come across clients that are a bit desperate. They want to open up the business, but they just want to open up whatever is making money right now. And maybe they just don't have the experience backing or the knowledge to really open up that restaurant or open up that Cuban bakery in the corner.
You're talking about tough businesses right there. I think restaurants got to be, and retail,
Exactly,
the two hardest
yeah.
businesses you can possibly do, unless, of course, you don't sleep at night.
Yeah,
you just want to do that all
and
day.
at our office, we do see a lot of imports, exports, a lot of retail, a lot of supermarkets, a lot into the food industry. Now with the cottage law,
Right,
we have a lot of individuals, you know,
What's
wanting.
the cottage law?
The cottage food law was effective July 1st.
You're talking about the trucks? No.
Actually, they don't fall under the cottage food law, but the cottage food law has enabled business owners, food entrepreneurs, to bake from home. It's very restricted on what they can bake. Basically,
Nobody's going to check my kitchen?
well, if there's a complaint, they will
there's a
inspect
complaint,
your kitchen. But if there's
Okay.
not a complaint, as long as your products and you're falling within their guidelines, which is not exceeding $15,000 annually in profit, that you're baking the items that are permitted under this law, which are your basic breads, cakes, cookies, those kind of things that don't require refrigeration, no meat products, no dairy
Those are
products.
things you can
Those
do.
are the things you cannot do, or the
Oh.
refrigerated items. Anything that requires refrigeration is a meat product or dairy product are not permitted. But baked items such as breads, cupcakes, cake pops, we're seeing a huge trend in those, cookies, and those kind of things that do not require the refrigeration are able to be prepared in their home as long as they're labeled properly and sold at market or however they want to sell it somewhere. They're not allowed to wholesale it, but they can retail it at the local markets and so forth.
And just to,
Yeah,
To
come
pick
and
up
jump
on
in.
that, 'cause having been in banking for many, many years, if someone might be good at baking cupcakes, but what people have to realize is there's many facets to owning and
Like they suck
running
at marketing.
Yes, marketing and the financial side and the you know, the process, you know, when they get too big, and, you know, what's the process, and the packaging, and the selling, and the, you know, the biggest,
Taxes.
yes, the taxes, yeah. So, you know, and even, it's even bigger companies where someone might have been head of marketing or head of sales for a large national company, does not necessarily equate to being a successful business owner, because they're excellent at that one element of it or that one piece of it, but there's many more important pieces. And
Well, marketing alone has like 1,000
marketing
pieces.
and
Pricing,
financial,
branding,
yeah,
where
branding,
you're going to have it manufactured.
and being able to read a financial
Location.
statement and see that, okay, my sales are going up, but I have no profits at the bottom line, and they don't even understand, you know, they're just not wired that way because their strength is sales or something. So as a banker, we're looking for people who, if they have a strength here, they better hire the people
Right.
to
I remember when the
offset the
first time,
weaknesses.
30 years ago, I went to an SBDC, several conferences when I first thought I'd go into some kind of business. And it was amazing to me that when they got up to speak, the overview was, people sometimes think they don't need a lawyer. You need a lawyer.
Right.
Some people think you don't need an accountant. You could figure it out yourself. You need an
Right,
accountant.
Yeah.
exactly.
Some people think they can think of an idea and market it. No, you need a marketing person, which then I really appreciated because I love marketing. But I also appreciated that I've met in my own marketing company 300, 400, 500 businesses that had brilliant ideas but no way to figure out how to price or
That's correct.
put, you know, or
Get it out there,
to
just get it out there.
get it manufactured properly, or pick their location, or pick the right advertising tool, because there's tons of people out there that'll tell you you need to be on this radio station or this billboard, and that's not really going to, it's going to waste your
Exactly,
money.
yeah.
It's funny because people do have a tendency to think all you need is a good idea.
I think those are a dime a dozen.
Yes, yeah.
You need to be able to
And
get
sometimes,
it done.
yeah, sometimes they'll come in and they're concerned about, all of our stuff is confidential, but they're concerned because they're afraid somebody's going to hear their idea and run and make money with it. And when I explain everything and they tell me what it is, I say, well, you know, I've talked to 3 people in the last 3 months that have the same idea. You know, the issue really is, I guess, even though I spent all my life in financing, and I like to think that's important, ultimately it comes down, can you convince somebody to reach in their pocket and hand you some money for what it is you want to do?
And let me add these words, on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Because doing it once
Right.
doesn't mean that product's any darn good, you know, and they've got to want it
And
repeatedly.
if there is one message that I would like to drill through all of my clients, which is they need to spend more time and effort focusing on the marketing. Even in our own center, when we run classes, sometimes our marketing stuff is the least attended class that we have, and yet it's probably the most important class that we have.
So you're not marketing, you're marketing well. I'm just going to sum that up. We have about 5 minutes left. We've moved along so quickly, and I know you've given wonderful tips and answered so many questions, but you probably have something else you'd like to make sure that you tell viewers about, or repeat something that you think is critically important. And so I'm going to give you each a minute to give me something like that. I'll start
Sure.
with you.
I think it's kind of been stated that there's a lot of preparation that has to take place before or by the time you get to the bank. So as a banker, you know, we are looking for the business plan, the financial statements, your projections. There's 2 parts to the equation in a loan: the people, their financial picture, their business background, their credit report, and then there's the business that they either own or want to start. So when you come to the bank, you know, you have to have all your financials, your tax returns, your personal financial statement. You need to be able to basically sell your business to the lender, because we are like a jack of all trades, master of none. You know, you have to help us in a fairly short amount of time understand your business. And then we're looking at the business, we're looking at the people, the cash flow, the projections, the collateral, the credit and a lot of things in a small amount of time. So I would like to leave my final message is being prepared, having done your homework, know your product, know your marketing, know your competition, know your costs,
That's
know
so
your
good, Lynn,
location.
because I mean, I hate being turned down, and if I'm more prepared, I'm gonna have less likelihood of
that's
being
correct.
turned down.
That's
Lynn, we didn't mention the benefits of hiring Hillsborough County residents.
For Hillsborough County businesses who are in existence, this is a promotion for existing businesses that have been in business for 2 years. If they're in the hiring process right now, they can hire up to 3 additional employees. If they have 10 or less to begin with, they can hire up to 3 additional employees. Hillsborough County is reimbursing 50% of their salaries for each of those 3 employees, up to $3,900 per employee.
Do you have to keep them for like longer than that, or?
Well, our goal is for them to create this job and then grow their business and take it to that next level because of what this new employee has done for them. And based on some initial surveys that we've conducted, so far 18 out of 20 new hire employees are still with that particular business, and they're ready to hire additional employees. So it's definitely doing its job.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
Do you
it's a
want to
great
add something
program.
else while we're winding up?
Additionally, I'd like to encourage business owners to attend all the free or take advantage of all the free resources that are out there. Make sure that they have everything ready to go before they seek the financing. And like Leonella said earlier, we may have somebody come in our office with this great idea, but we may talk them out of it. There's a lot of times we do talk business owners or startup businesses from going forward because we realize that they really don't have such a great idea at the current time, and we don't want to see them go financially.
Leonella, do you
Yeah,
wanna?
I'd just like to tell our audience definitely the same thing that our 2 Lyns here said. It's preparation.
Lynn to the second power.
Going back to math class. It's just taking advantage of all those free services out there. Liking us on Facebook, checking our website, getting to know our staff, going to our office, taking advantage of the one-on-one counseling, of our orientations, of our whole seminar program, which is free, coming in and learning a little bit about our scholarship programs, the benefits, and just anything. I mean, we offer, all our one-on-one counseling is anything from helping you close your business to helping you open up that business to guiding you to what demographic you should be, that should be your niche, what type of marketing you should be doing, basically anything. And just to mention a little bit, because I know you had mentioned about service, it's interesting because a lot of the clients come in where they think that they have this idea that hasn't been thought of before, when in fact we do have a lot of competition for that idea already. And one thing that we've learned that we started new this year is that we started implementing 2 new seminars, which is business communication and customer service, and then the second one for negotiation skills, because that's really going to be your most, your competitive advantage right there with your competitors.
Okay, well, it looks like I'm having to wind up. I know you gave us a lot of advice, Jim. Probably have more. We'll have to have you back.
Let me give the website.
No, give your website. Okay,
sbdctampabay.com.
Okay, thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you got a lot out of this. Please go ahead and email us, let us know about that, and check the resources available to you here in our county. Appreciate your tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thank you.